Hi, I'm Norleen, and today I'm here to read Chapter 10 of my old fanfiction, Xanna. Content warning, it's old and has outdated humor, strongly inspired by anime, but I hope you stick around and have some fun. Let's get started. Chapter 10, Some More New Friends. Oh my god, why? Some of the moonlight shined onto Xanna's eyes. She shut them tight, then opened them up. She blinked a few times because her surroundings looked a bit fuzzy. Where am I? She thought and sat up, looking at her friends who were still asleep. Xanna rubbed her head, trying to get rid of the headache she had. What happened? Izzy's ear twitched while she slept. She had heard Xanna talking to herself. She opened her eyes and looked at her. Will you shut up? She laid back down and closed her eyes. I'm trying to sleep. When Izzy realized she had actually been talking to Xanna, her eyes shot open and she sat up immediately. Xanna! Xanna nodded, then went back to rubbing her head. This time she was doing it to try to remember what had happened. Why can't I remember anything? What happened? Izzy walked over and sat next to Xanna. You passed out because of the spiders. Xanna stopped rubbing her head and looked at Izzy. How could I forget that? She asked herself. She stopped looking at Izzy and went back to rubbing her head. Maybe you didn't want to remember. Maybe, Xanna said, still rubbing her head. She didn't need to rub it anymore, but she couldn't stop. What happened after I blacked out? Dethium went on a happy killing spree. Makoki and Gishpek killed a few spiders, so did Akazil, and Moxa summoned his imp and they used a spider like a bucking Tauren. Xanna looked at Izzy. What? 1, you called the group by their names. 2, what about Cosmo and Mittens? The most important people of the group. After being told that she had said everyone's name, Izzy covered her mouth like she had said a very bad swear word. Xanna moved her hands. Tell me what happened to Cosmo and Mittens. Look next to you. Huh? Xanna raised an eyebrow. Look next to you, Izzy repeated, but she did it slowly, as if she was talking to a child. Xanna let go of Izzy's hands. Now that she was free, she ran away to go wash her mouth out with soap. Get over myself. Next scene. Cosmo slowly opened his eyes, smiling because he knew he would see his best friend laying next to him. He blinked a few times so his fuzzy vision would go away. When he could see clearly, he saw that Xanna had gone missing. He freaked out at first, but calmed down when he saw her looking down at him. Zon! He sat up and gave her a big hug. I'm so happy you're awake! He squeezed tighter and gave her a kiss on the cheek. Right. They're so brother-sister relationship. Don't ever scare me like that again, Zon. His hug got tighter. Xanna laughed. Sorry, Cosmo. Cosmo smiled, kissed Xanna on her cheek again, and continued to hug her. Mittens came over and began to rub her head on Xanna, purring as she did. Xanna giggled and pat Mittens on the head. Good morning to you too, Mittens. She looked at the moonlight that was still glowing through the trees. Good night, I guess? What time is it anyway? Cosmo stopped hugging Xanna and looked at his watch. 6 at night? In the morning. But how? Wait. Okay, I'm confused. Cosmo shrugged. Don't ask me why the moon's up, or anyone else. Not even Gizzy knew why the moon was up. Wow, then this is a mystery that will never be solved. Yep, but who cares about the moon? All I care about is that you're awake, Cosmo said and hugged Xanna again. Guys, wake up! Xanna's awake! Sure, wake up everyone that you're fighting with to get her attention. Yeah, bright idea. Moxa and Ezekiel slowly sat up and rubbed their eyes. Oxil sat up, yawning. Gishpek sat up straight like he was a robot. Makoki woke up next to Dethium's headless body and scooted away from it, and Dethium's head rolled out of Makoki's bag. Her body grabbed her head and put it back on. Everyone looked at Xanna, who was still being hugged by Cosmo. Xanna! Moxa cheered and ran over to hug her. Makoki came over and pushed him away so he could hug her. Glad you're awake, Miss Xanna, Gishpek said as he came over. He shook Xanna's hand. I can't believe you passed out because of those little spiders, Dethium said as she began to play with a dagger. Cosmo glared at her. Makoki, I wanna hug Xanna some more, Moxa whined. I don't care. Go get your own Xanna. But Makoki ignored Moxa and continued to hug Xanna. He was actually hugging her and not looking down her shirt. He figured he shouldn't eye hump her when she just woke up. He would save that for later, if he got the chance. Moxa stomped his foot on the ground and came over to try and steal Xanna back. Both of the boys just ended up hugging her at the same time. Xanna blushed at all the attention she was getting. This can't be real, she thought. Oxil came over. Oh. He looked away. Xanna tilted her head at him. Oxil saw it through the corner of his eye and tried not to blush at the sight of her cuteness. After a moment, he looked back at Xanna. He didn't finish. He just pushed Moxa and Makoki aside, got down on his knees, and gave her the wedding ring. And gave Xanna the sweetest hug she had ever received. She blushed even more. Okay, this has to be a dream. There is no way I'm getting this much attention. Sorry to say this, but you're actually being adored. I know because I know that the torture I've been receiving these past 2 weeks and a day is definitely real. Yeah, I can imagine Izzy being so annoyed that she's actually keeping track of the passage of time time that's going on. It's been 2 weeks of this shit. Xanna just blushed and blushed as Oxil continued to hug her. She slowly reached her arms up and wrapped them around Oxil. She smiled when she realized that this was real and not a dream. She laid her head down on Oxil's shoulder and began to nuzzle at his neck a little bit. He smiled and hugged tighter. Izzy tapped Xanna's shoulder. Sport? Xanna responded in her mind. She wasn't really paying attention to Izzy, though. Don't you have some place to go? That's nice, Izzy. Izzy rolled her eyes, walked over to Xanna, and slapped her. You idiot! What about Stormwind? The slap hadn't affected Xanna, but when Izzy mentioned Stormwind, she came back to reality. In her mind, that is. Oh my gosh, you're right! Of course I'm right. I'm the only part of you that actually pays attention to the important stuff. Xanna ignored Izzy and got away from Oxil's hug. She stood up and dusted herself off quickly. Oxil frowned, because he had a boner. Okay, I'd love to hug each and every one of you all day, but we got a road trip to finish. Moxa stopped in the middle of his sneak attack hug. Right! Now that Xanna's awake, we can continue our road trip! Everyone stood up and looked at Xanna. Where to, Zonzon? Well, who has the book? Everyone raised an eyebrow at Xanna. What book? Oxil asked. Uh-oh. The book. The library book I've had with me ever since we started this trip. The one that she had her nose fucking for non-stop since she got it. That one? Xanna? Oh, that book. You dropped that when you blacked out, Makoki said. Xanna's eyes widened. Izzy! Xanna turned to face Izzy. Why didn't you tell me I dropped the book? Xanna ran over to her inner self. I thought you said that you were the one who pays attention to important stuff like that, she yelled at her, poking the top of her chest after each word. Izzy pushed Xanna's hand away and rubbed her chest. Okay, 1, ow. And 2, I'm sorry. I kind of started to freak out to notice anything after you blacked out. Xanna began to pace around the camp, chewing on the tips of her bright fingernails. Crap. Who cares about the book? Let's just eat some breakfast, then get back on the road, Makoki said. Xanna looked at him. I care about the book. Why? The library can just get a new one. The map was in that book! That book is the only way we can get out of this place alive! Everyone's eyes widened. What? Sweet. This means we can go back and kill some more spiders. Dethium laughed as she looked at her daggers. Xanna got a little dizzy after hearing that word. Maybe I can kill that big one. Big one? Xanna squeaked. Dethium nodded. Yeah, it was big. Xanna flinched. Red. Another flinch. Green. Flinch. Hairy. Flinch. And ugly as hell. Here's a picture of it, Izzy said, and showed Xanna the picture of Neuraxis. She gagged a little. The guys looked at Xanna. She was wobbling. I think I need to sit down for a bit. Xanna fell backwards. Her foot was twitching a little bit. Son! Cosmo ran to her side. He shook her a little. Son, wake up! She was kidding! It's not real! Wake up! While Cosmo was shaking Xanna, the other guys glared at Dethium. What? Next scene. After 10 minutes of Xanna being unconscious, Dethium got bored and poured some water on her face. At first, it didn't work, but after another 5 cups, it did. Once she had dried off, Xanna sat on the ground, thinking of what to do. What are we gonna do, Zonzon? I'm thinking. Does this mean we just turn around and go home? Moxa asked. No, we're almost done with this road trip, and I don't want to go through Stranglethorn Vale again. I think that's something I actually said on the trip with my friends and brothers. The monsters would probably kill us anyway, Gishbek said. I mean, we got lucky the first time. I doubt we can get that lucky a second time. Xanna sighed. Only option is to get the— Wait! She pointed to Izzy. What? You showed me a picture of a spider from the book. So? That means, in a way, we have the book. She shook her head. No, it doesn't. I was only able to show you that picture because I remembered seeing it in the actual book. You kept skimming, so I couldn't remember everything I saw. Do you remember the map? Only the part of Duskwood we're in, not the whole thing. Damn it! I thought I had it. Xanna whimpered. Oh, this means our only option is to go back there. Xanna said the last word like it was a swear. Just get one of the idiots to go back there and get it. Or even Dethium. She'll be happy to go back there and kill some spiders. Yeah, that's all she wants to do. She might not come back, and if she does, I doubt she'll remember to bring the book with her. True, but there's always the option of sacrificing an idiot, Izzy suggested happily. Xanna shook her head. Why not? Izzy frowned a kind of frown you would get from a little kid that had her favorite teddy bear taken away. If I send one of the guys and they get the book, they'll probably look at it. I don't want them to know where we're going yet. Xanna sighed again. The only option left is— She gulped. I have to go get it. Next scene. Xanna stood up, took a deep breath, and began to walk. Cosmo swallowed the piece of chicken he was eating, then got up to follow her. Where are you going, Zonzon? To get the book. Cosmo gasped and jumped in front of her and grabbed her shoulders. Zonzon, you'll be killed if you go back there! She gave him a sad look. Don't you have any faith in me, Cosmo? Cosmo was a bit taken aback by this question. Of course I do. It's just, then let me go get it. Xanna interrupted. Cosmo looked at his friend with concerned eyes. But... Cosmo looked away, closed his eyes, and sighed. I don't want anything to happen to you, Xanna. He looked back at her. She was smiling. I'll be fine, you knucklehead. But you passed out yesterday. This time I won't act like a chicken. I'll be a smart rogue and you still. Cosmo blinked a few times. He had forgotten that Xanna was a rogue. Probably because she never acts like it. Oh, well, Xanna took Cosmo's hands off her shoulders. You guys keep eating. I'll go get the book, she said, and she started to walk again. I'll be back in an hour. Cosmo walked back to the others around the campfire. He sat down next to Mittens and continued eating. This is so not fair, Dethium complained. When I wanted to go back and kill spiders, you guys wouldn't let me. But when she wants to go back, you guys don't stop her. We stopped you because you would get us all killed, Makoki said and took a sip of his grass smoothie that Cosmo was nice enough to make. I didn't want to stop you because I don't like you, but I love myself more than I hate you. And don't take that in a nice way. Dethium just pouted. I really wanted to kill that big spider. Head hopping! Next scene. Xanna walked in stealth to the spot she had passed out. Finally, some time for peace and quiet, far away from those idiots. Although I miss death. Xanna didn't say anything. She just continued to quietly walk, and she looked a bit tense. What's wrong with you? Well, I'm going back to those things, and I feel like I'm forgetting something, but I can't remember what it is. That's why they call it forgetting, idiot. All I remember is that it has something to do with Cosmo. If only I could remember what it was. Can't be that important if it has something to do with him. Next scene, because these scenes deserve to be scenes. Cosmo was sitting next to Mittens, petting the top of her head. He was thinking about something he had forgotten. What am I forgetting? He thought as he continued to pet Mittens and stare at the moonlight. He gasped. Today's the end of my vacation week! Did anybody else remember that Cosmo had a job? Next scene. Xanna continued to walk. I'll remember it eventually, she told herself and kept walking. I think you're getting close. What makes you say that? Izzy looked at a dead spider body nearby that Xanna didn't notice. Just a hunch, she said and looked forward to make sure Xanna wouldn't walk into a tree. As Xanna walked, something took the dead spider body. Xanna's ear twitched from hearing the noise and looked back. Watch out! You're gonna run into that tree, George! I mean, Xanna! Xanna looked forward and barely dodged the tree. Idiot. Xanna rolled her eyes and continued walking. She eventually reached the spot where she had passed out. She looked around for the book. There was no sight of it. And there was no sight of something else. Didn't you say that everyone started fighting spiders after I passed out? Yeah, Izzy said, filing her nails. Well then, where are the dead bodies? Izzy stopped filing her nails and looked around. What the? Izzy scratched the top of her head, very puzzled about the missing bodies. The book isn't here either. What? But nobody touched the book. How is it missing? I don't know, maybe some other travelers fucking came by and saw all this shit over here and picked it up? You were gone for like 12 hours. I don't know. Maybe it was kicked during battle or something. Check by that tree, Izzy said as she pointed to a dead tree. Xanna walked over and searched the area. She even looked in the tree itself and under the dirt around the tree. I don't see it. Check over by that one. And if you don't find it there, check that one, then that one, and that one, and that one, and that one, Izzy said as she pointed to several dead trees. Xanna sighed and began her long search. Next scene. Warning, I will do some more screaming, although all of you should probably know that by now. An hour had gone by and she still didn't find it. No. Yes! Wait, no, just another book-shaped rock. She sighed. I'm starting to wonder if I'll ever find the book. Why? It's right over there. Izzy pointed to the book leaning on a tree with her nail filer. Fucking really? Xanna raised an eyebrow. Oh, that's something we haven't done in a while. Quirked brow. Izzy continued to point in the other direction. Xanna looked and she saw the book. Yes! She ran over and picked it up. And I didn't have to fight any of those things. Xanna shuddered at the thought. She stopped thinking about it and looked inside the book. Doesn't look damaged. She closed the book. I think we're good. While Xanna was talking to herself, Izzy was looking in another direction and saw something very bad. Let's get back to camp. Izzy stopped her from looking in the bad direction. Hey, how about we go that way? She pointed to her left. But that's the way back home. Xanna pointed to the direction behind Izzy. Yeah, but what's wrong with taking the long way? Let's enjoy the lovely view. She moved her left arm around when she said view. Xanna gave her a blank look. Lovely view. She placed a hand on Izzy's forehead. Are you sick or something? Yeah. Izzy faked a cough. I'm so sick, Izzy said, taking advantage of Xanna's stupidness. If Izzy was sick, then so was Xanna. Xanna removed her hand. You don't feel warm, but we should get back to camp, just in case. Which means I gotta go that way. Xanna pointed behind Izzy again. Izzy looked over her shoulder. The thing was still there. She looked back at Xanna. She had her hands on her hips. But can't we take the long way back to camp? You know how much I love dead things. I don't care how much you love dead things. We're taking the short way home. Xanna took her hands off her hips and began to walk in the direction Izzy was blocking. She then saw why Izzy didn't want to go that way. Xanna quietly said. She was trying to scream, but also trying not to scream. Xanna, calm down. It's not gonna notice you if you're in stealth. Just slowly walk past it and everything will be okay. Xanna ignored Izzy and backed away from the spider, only to bump into another one. Both Xanna and the spider turned around to face each other. Don't scream, Izzy said slowly, trying to keep Xanna calm. Xanna said once again as she stared at the spider's ugly fangs. Her eyes slowly widened. She backed away slowly. The spider followed. Stay calm. Don't scream and don't faint, Xanna said and began to shake with fear. The spider made a noise. Skitter! Skitter! Xanna began to breathe really fast. Other spiders had come. Xanna. Xanna screamed to the top of her lungs. All of the spiders just walked closer to her and carried her away. Next scene. This is a long fucking chapter. Does anybody remember the chapter title? Oh, it's about to be relevant. Xanna's scream echoed throughout all of Duskwood. What was that? A human girl asked and clinged onto a female night elf. The human girl was about a foot shorter than the night elf girl. She had tan skin, red hair that stopped at her shoulders and surrounded her face a little bit. A sweet-looking face, freckles, 2 innocent filled green eyes, some red lipstick, and 2 little earrings, 1 on each ear. She wore some blue linen pants and a long-sleeved blue linen shirt. She never really liked showing off her arms, stomach, or legs like all of the other girls, because all of this is important. It's not. The night elf girl patted one of her hands. It's okay, Sonia. Don't be afraid, she said in a nice, soft, quiet voice, and yet she could still be heard, like a powerful thunderstorm. Sonia looked at her night elf friend. She was so tall, and she had a great figure, beautiful blue eyes, perfect dark blue hair that she would always wear in pigtails. She would rest them on her front side. They ended right at the top of her chest, and she had a very nice face that had 2 line markings, 1 over each eye, and she had baby soft dark purple skin, and she would wear dark blue lipstick and different types of robes. Some were 1 whole piece, some were 2 separate pieces, but no matter how many pieces they were, she would always wear green. She's a night elf druid, that's why. Fucking stupid. This is annoying. Okay, Sophie, Sonia said. Just for the record, I'm trying my best to be entertaining with my voices. I'm sorry if they're all terrible, if they're more miss than hit. Who cares what that sound was? All I care about is who this dagger belongs to, Amel Drenai said as he stared at a dagger that he found in a rabbit. Sonia and Sophie looked at him. He was tall, taller than Sophie, but only by a few inches. He was buff, had blue skin and eyes. He would wear his black hair in an upwards ponytail, and he had 2 pointy horn type things that were in front of it. He was wearing brown pants known as the forest leather pants, and a white linen shirt. Over that was a green vest that showed his shirt in the upper chest area. The vest was known as the Riverpaw leather vest. Why are you so obsessed with that dagger, Khadga? Sophie asked. Khadga continued to look at the dagger. Because this was handmade and used for nothing but killing. He showed it to the girls. See? They looked at it. All I see is a dagger. Sonia giggled. Khadga took the dagger away. Whatever. My point is, whoever made this dagger is a very skilled craftsman and killer. If I ever meet him, I will worship him for the rest of my life. What if it's a girl? Sophie asked. Then I'll marry her. Sophie rolled her eyes. Hurry up, you guys. I found the flowers that Sonia needs over here, a male voice said. A male night elf walked up to Sonia, Sophie, and Khadga. He was taller than both of the girls, but shorter than Khadga. He was very handsome. He had dark yellow eyes, long purple hair that stopped at the middle of his back, purple skin, and a dashing smile. He wore a pair of pants that showed little chains between the areas of red. His chest armor that he wore over his purple linen shirt was the same. They were the Raider's leggings and the Raider's chest piece. Sorry, brother, Sophie said. Khadga was showing us some silly dagger. Silly dagger? How dare dare you say that? He huffed. Sophie didn't pay any attention. Khadga gave her an irritated look. Then he looked at the other night elf. How can you live with that as a sister, Fanero? Fanero laughed. Years of practice. Now come on, the flowers are this way, he said and walked the other way again. The others followed. Next scene. I used to pronounce it Fianaro because I didn't know it was actually pronounced Fanero. Fanero had taken his friends to an area that was filled with peace bloom flowers. Hooray! Sonia cheered. She gave Fanero a big hug. Thank you so much, Finn. It was impossible to get any peace bloom in Elwyn Forest. All of the little girls kept picking them. No problem, Sonia. Sonia smiled at him. Then she stopped hugging him to pick some of the flowers. The others waited for her to get done picking them. Sophie kneeled down and felt the grass. Poor, poor grass. She looked at the trees. And the trees. I feel so sorry for this place. It was so much better before it was overcome by shadow. Hey! Khadga said. What? Fanero and Sophie asked. I found some sort of symbol of the owner on this dagger. He showed it to the night elves. The dagger was marked with a D. So what? Sophie asked. So what? This means that whoever owns the dagger's name starts with a D, making it a little easier on me to find him. Or her, Sophie said. And how do you know that's the beginning of their name? It could simply mean dagger, or dangerous, or don't touch. Khadga gave her another irritated look. He stopped when her ears twitched. So did Fanero's. Someone's in trouble, Fanero said. Yes, let us go and find them and be their rescuer, Sophie said and grabbed her stuff. Fanero pulled out his sword. Let's go, Soph. Sophie and her brother were about to head for the direction of the noise, but stopped when they realized Khadga was about to join them. Khadga, you stay here and watch Sonia. We'll be back shortly, Fanero said. Khadga frowned. I never get to fight. He walked back over to where Sonia was and pouted. Next scene. Sana was trapped in some sort of spider cocoon on a web. She struggled to get free before the spiders came back. I thought you said you were gonna be a smart rogue and use stealth. I did, but then I bumped into a spider. You could have used a flash bomb. Any of you warcrafters who remembers flash bomb used to be a thing? Anybody remember that? Sana was about to retort, but she couldn't because Izzy was right about that. I forgot about those, alright? Looking a spider in the face kind of makes you forget things like that. I don't care. You're an idiot, and now we're gonna die! Don't worry, if I can just get to my dagger. Sana tried to reach for her dagger in the cocoon. I can get us out of here! She continued to reach for her dagger, but failed to retrieve it. Kinda hard to get a dagger when you're paralyzed, isn't it? Oh, shut up, at least I'm trying to get free! Izzy looked at her. Do you honestly think I will be of use? You could come up with an idea? How? You're paralyzed and trapped in a cocoon! Well, how did I get out of it last time? I don't know, because I was blacked out the whole time and just pushed it to the back of my mind so I'd never think of it again. Some guy was walking by and found you. Izzy folded her arms over her chest. I doubt we'll get that lucky again, she sighed. Looks like this is the end. Don't say that! Just hope! Xanna shook Izzy. She stopped when she saw a spider dragging one of its dead comrades to some younger spiders through a little hole in the cocoon. The little spiders ate the dead spider body. When the spider who was feeding them saw the little hole, it walked over and covered it with some more web. We're doomed, Xanna groaned. Next scene. The noise is coming from over here, Fanero whispered to his sister. They hid behind a bush together and watched the spiders. Looks like this place is where a person would be in danger. Yes, now just to go find the person who needs help. The two night elves searched for the person in need very quietly, so they wouldn't be noticed by the spiders. There, Fanero said as he pointed to a moving cocoon. Maybe that's them. Sophie closed her eyes and began to focus on the cocoon. After a minute, she opened her eyes. Is that the person? Her brother asked. She nodded. Sweet. Let's go, Khadga said. The two elves looked behind them. They saw Khadga and Sonia. They weren't surprised to see them. Khadga would always follow them to a battle when they told him to stay with Sonia. They sighed. Then why did you fucking ask him to want to look after her? Fucking anime! You are such a thick-headed person, Khadga, Sophie said. Are you saying that because I'm in love with the person who owns this dagger? Sophie closed her eyes, her right one twitched a bit, and she balled her right hand into a fist. Sophie, calm down. We have a person to rescue, remember? Fanero said. Yeah, let's get over there and kick some spider ass, Khadga said and punched his right hand into his left. Spiders? Sonia said. She clinged onto Khadga. Spiders are so scary. Don't worry, Sonia, you'll be okay, Fanero said reassuringly. She smiled and blushed a little. He smiled back. Khadga rolled his eyes. Will you two stop making googly eyes at each other so we can start fighting? We weren't making googly eyes at each other, Fanero told his friend, obviously annoyed. Sonia frowned without him noticing. Come everyone, the spiders left. We only have a few moments to rescue the person in the cocoon. Right, come on, Fanero said. The others nodded and followed him to the cocoon. He slowly walked up to the cocoon. When he reached it, he tapped on it. It squirmed a little, because you can still squirm while you're paralyzed? I think the people in the cocoons in the game weren't paralyzed, given that the the cocoons could squirm. I think it was just that thick and sticky they couldn't get out. But yeah, the cocoon would not be squirming if she is paralyzed. Fanaro looked at his sister before he opened it to make sure it wasn't something bad. She nodded, letting him know it was safe to open. Fanaro grabbed his sword and started to slowly cut the cocoon open from the top. He saw 2 beautiful yellow eyes. "Move, Fanaro!" Sophie yelled. Her brother gasped and jumped back from the cocoon. A big red and green spider came down from a web from the tree the cocoon was on. Khadga's eyes twinkled as he stared at the giant spider. Sonya squeaked and hid behind Khadga. "That spider looks so awesome!" Fanaro and Sophie smacked their foreheads. "I bet I can tame it!" Khadga pulled out his sword and hit the spider's front left leg. It screeched and more spiders came to his rescue. "Skitter, skitter! Leader, skitter, skitter! Skitter! Khadga, you meathead!" Sophie yelled. A spider tried to attack her when she wasn't looking. She was able to dodge it gracefully. Sophie shapeshifted into a bear and began to attack the spider. Sonya would heal her every now and then. She couldn't do much because she was only a level 13, but she still wanted to try to help. Fanaro was fighting a spider that was trying to take the cocoon away, and Khadga was running away from the big red and green spider. "That's right, just follow the big Draenei. Almost there, and now!" The spider stepped on something and froze in his chase for the Draenei. Khadga laughed and poked the frozen spider. He stuck his tongue out at it, then turned around and shook his tail in front of it. "Either tame it or kill it! Just stop goofing around!" Fanaro shouted at his friend as he killed a spider by hitting it with his shield. Khadga stopped shaking his tail and gave Fanaro a joy killer look. Joy killer. He sighed, turned around, and got into the taming beast stance. Little hearts started to appear above the spider's head, because this is more game than realism. When he was almost done with his spell, the ice melted away, freeing the spider. Oh crap! The spider charged at Khadga, trying to put a stop to the spell. "Just a couple more seconds." The giant spider scratched Khadga's stomach and bit on his right leg. 3, 2, 1. For some reason, the spider stopped attacking Khadga. He wanted to, but couldn't. And he shrunk. "Yes!" Khadga cheered, jumping up and down, throwing his right fist in the air. "Ow, ow, ow, leg, ow," he said when he landed. He began to walk back to his friends, rubbing the top of his leg as he did. While he was walking, spiders followed him. They were all giving him eyes filled with hatred, like their king was doing. Shit. He picked up his new pet and ran to his friends. They had killed at least 3 spiders. "Where did Khadga go?" Fanaro asked the girls. They shrugged. "Run!" A Draenei yelled as he ran past the 3 of them. "Oh, there he is." "Was he carrying a spider?" Sophie asked. While Sophie was asking her question, Sonya looked in the direction Khadga had come from. Her eyes widened and she tugged on Sophie's sleeve. "What is it, Sonya?" Sonya pointed to what it was. "Oh, I suppose we should take the meathead's advice and run!" Sophie grabbed Sonya's hand and began to run the way Khadga had. Fanaro watched the girls run away. Then he looked at the other direction. His eyes widened when he saw dozens of spiders heading toward him. He quickly grabbed the cocoon, tossed it over his shoulder, and began to run. "Ditchers!" he yelled at his friends. Next scene. Oxel had his arms folded over his chest and was tapping his foot. "Where is she?" he thought. "Cosmo, what time is it?" Cosmo looked at his watch as he played checkers with Mittens. Mittens jumped over 6 of his guys when he wasn't looking. "About 5 after 7, he told Oxel and turned back to the board. He gasped when he saw that 6 of his pieces had gone missing. "It's been an hour already. Where could she be?" Oxel threw his arms in the air. "Dude, she's only been gone an extra 5 minutes, so just chill," Makoki said as he and Gishpek played paper football. Gishpek had scored a touchdown when Makoki wasn't looking. He looked down at the paper football in his lap, then at the troll. "Cheater!" Gishpek pretended to look innocent. "Exactly, she's been gone an extra 5 minutes. She said she would only be an hour. What if something happened to her?" Oxel said, throwing his arms up in the air again. Nobody was paying attention. "Am I the only one who cares?" "We care about her too," Cosmo said, "but it's only been 5 minutes. I'm sure nothing happened to her." Honestly, I'm with Oxel on this. He's only reacting in this fashion because he's got a crush on Xanna, lusting after her. But, let's minus that. It's a real reaction to have in this dangerous fucking world. And even just 1 extra minute could mean all the difference. "Something did happen to her," Dethium said as she stared at her dagger. Oxel shot Cosmo and "I told you so" look. Cosmo just rolled his eyes. "What happened to her?" "She got to go back there and have fun killing spiders," Dethium said and pointed to the direction with her dagger. Then she folded her arms over her chest, pouting. "Lucky bitch," she mumbled. Oxel growled and began to pace around camp. "Calm down. I've known Xanna for a long time. I'm sure she's fine," Cosmo said reassuringly. He's known her for so long wrong. They were together for like a year or two at the orphanage, then didn't see each other for 8 years. They know each other so well. Next scene. Oops, Khadga said because he had dropped the cocoon on the ground. Dude, Finero said and ran over to it. He kneeled down to make sure it was okay. I let you hold the cocoon for 5 minutes so I can stretch my arms and you drop it? Butterfingers, Sophie whispered. Khadga shot her a look, then looked back at Finero. I'm sorry, it wiggled out of my arms. Finero rolled his eyes. Does anyone have a dagger? I want to make sure this person is okay. Here you go, Sonia said and tossed a dagger next to Finero's feet. Thanks, Sonia. Sonia smiled. She was happy she was able to help, even if it wasn't in a big way. Finero used the dagger to finish opening the cocoon. When he was done opening it, he and his friends gasped. There was a blood elf inside the cocoon! A short, skinny female blood elf. She had dark pink skin, dark brown hair she was wearing in a ponytail, a pair of earrings, and by the look of what she was wearing, she must have been a rogue. Khadga glared at Sophie. What? You didn't even make sure it was an alliance? I couldn't tell because she was in the cocoon. All I could tell was that she was scared and needed help. Who cares if she needed help? She's a filthy horde! Dude, I'm the one who grabbed the cocoon, so blame me for saving her, Finero said. He didn't really like seeing his sister get yelled at. What were you thinking? Khadga redirected his yelling. How could you? She's a filthy horde! I'm sorry, I didn't know. I thought she was a night elf because of her eyes. How can you get yellow night elf eyes? Khadga continued his yelling and pointed at his eyes. He knew he didn't have night elf eyes, but he knew his friend would get the message. Confused with green blood elf eyes! He threw his hands in the direction of the unconscious blood elf. I didn't get confused. I saw yellow eyes. You're colorblind. I am not. Then what color is this spider? Khadga said, picking up his new pet and holding him in front of Finero's face. Finero backed his face away a couple of inches. It's green and red. Wrong. How is that wrong? It's red and green. What's the difference? Khadga pulled the spider closer to him. He's red with green spots. He yelled and pointed to the red, then the green. After that, he put his spider back down on the ground. Finero and the girls smacked their foreheads. Whatever. My point is, I didn't know she was a blood elf. The blood elf moved a little. Shit, she's close to waking up. Come on, let's leave her and tell the guards in Darkshire that there's a blood elf in Duskwood. No, we can't do that. They'll kill her. Exactly. We're not going to the guards. Finero pointed a not gonna happen finger at Khadga. What? Are you a horde now? No, but we're not gonna go to the guards. If we don't, then this blood elf will kill everyone in Duskwood, Khadga said, grabbing Finero's collar. What if she doesn't? Are you kidding me? Everyone knows that all the horde want to do is kill us, Alliance. The boys gave each other angry looks, then raised their fists. Sonia started to cry. Way to go, you two, Sophie said as she wrapped her arms around Sonia. Please stop fighting, she cried. Sonia buried her face into Sophie's chest and continued to cry. Sophie rubbed the back of her head, trying to calm her down. The guys lowered their fist after seeing Sonia cry. Sorry, Khadga said quietly and let go of Finero's collar. Me too. Next scene. Xanna slowly opened her eyes. Why do I have such a headache? I don't know, did you drop yourself on your head again? Xanna ignored Izzy and tried to move one of her hands so she could rub her head, but she couldn't. Why can't I move my arms? In fact, why can't I feel them? And why can't I feel my legs? She asked, starting to panic. Oh, she's awake, a male voice said. What do we do? A female voice asked. Let's toss her in a lake, the male voice said. Some other voices shushed him. What? She can't understand us and she won't know that we're gonna toss her in a lake. What do you mean I can't understand you? Xanna asked the voices. They all gasped. Holy shit, the first voice said. She can understand us? Another male voice said. That's amazing, the female voice said. Someone ask her something, a second female voice said. Someone walked over to Xanna. She blinked a few times to see what the person looked like. Is that what I think it is? And it was what Izzy thought. The person was tall, handsome, looked very strong, had purple hair that went to the middle of his back, gorgeous yellow eyes and purple skin. I think the hairstyle was thick so you could see it went to his back, even facing him from the front. Holy shit, it's a night elf! This is what a night elf looks like in person? Izzy didn't answer. She was too amazed by seeing a night elf in person. The night elf kneeled down next to Xanna. Are you okay? He asked. His voice sounded wonderful. To Xanna, he sounded like an angel. Hello? Are you okay? He repeated. Xanna nodded. Yes, but I can't feel or move anything besides my head. It must be from the spider's venom, the first female voice said. The male night elf stood up when she walked over. 2 night elves? This night elf was shorter than the male one, but she was still tall, and she was very beautiful. She had beautiful blue eyes eyes, beautiful blue hair she had braided into pigtails, a very pretty face. She had 2 line markings on her face, one over each eye, and she was wearing dark blue lipstick. Xanna frowned. That must be his girlfriend. Really? That's your first fucking reaction? What the fuck is wrong with you? Can you get rid of the venom, Soph? The male night elf asked. She shook her head. No, she is a blood elf, so there is nothing I can do. What if one of us sucks out the poison? The female night elf shook her head again. There is nothing we can do. Unless a horde person that can heal poisons comes along, she will be paralyzed. No, she won't, the second female voice said. She came over as well. Holy shit. This voice was from a human girl. She was shorter than both of the night elves, but still taller than Xanna, and she looked very cute. She had nice tan skin, nice looking red hair that went down to her shoulders, green eyes, freckles. She wore the same red lipstick and a pair of earrings. I read somewhere that the spider who gave you the poison can take it away too. Really? That's amazing, Sonia! The male night elf said and hugged her. She blushed a little. Damn, that boy's a playa. The male night elf kneeled down next to Xanna again. Do you remember what the spider who gave you the poison looked like? She nodded. It was big, red, green. Told you, the first male voice said. And ugly, she finished. The male night elf stood up and looked at the girls. Sound familiar, guys? They all looked at something that was at the top of the cocoon. What are they looking at? Well, they're looking at the spider that crawled onto your cocoon, and I'm thinking about how I was not able to define who the fuck was speaking when I was writing back then. I just kind of assumed everyone would know. Xanna got her answer right away. Some sort of goat man came over. He was big, taller than the other 3, and he was buff. He had blue eyes and skin, black hair he had in a ponytail, and 2 pointy horn things in the front of it. Izzy's right eye twitched a little. It's a Janai. I can't believe this. That spider must have had some sort of drug in his venom, and now we're seeing things. This isn't really happening. We're still back with the spiders, safely wrapped in the cocoon, waiting to be eaten alive. Yeah, that's what's going on. Come here, pet, the Janai said. You still haven't given it a name? The female night elf asked. He shook his head. Nope, can't think of the right name. I want to give him the perfect name. One that fits his personality and still cool enough to be my pet. The female night elf rolled her eyes. Whatever, just put the spider on her legs. Did she just say what I think she said? Yep, you were having a very bad day, sport, and I would be enjoying it if these people weren't alliance! I'd nag you about what a racist you are, but my head still hurts. Welcome to my world. Come here, pet, the Janai repeated. He sighed, walked away, and came back with something bad. Why am I so hated? Because you're an idiot. How many times do I have to tell you? Now place it on her legs, the female night elf said. Okay, the Janai said. He kneeled down to place the spider on Xanna's legs. Her eyes widened. Get that thing away from me! She screamed. She tried to get up to run away, but couldn't move. Still paralyzed, remember? I don't give a rat's ass! I'm getting the hell out of here! I like the way you're thinking, but it's not gonna happen. You can still move? Take over my body! Can't. I may be able to move, but your body is paralyzed, so we're stuck. Xanna refused to believe that. She continued to try and run away. I told you she was gonna try to go on a killing spree! The Janai yelled at the male night elf. They glared at each other and began to yell. She's not going on a killing spree! Yes, she is! While they yelled at each other, the 2 girls kneeled down on both sides of the cocoon. The female night elf reached out a hand and put it on Xanna's left arm. Calm down. We're not going to hurt you, she said in such a calming voice. Yeah, we're trying to help you, the human girl said. Xanna looked at both of them. She wasn't sure if she should believe them or not. She was leaning towards believing them because she didn't see any hidden lies in their eyes. Do you want to move again? The female night elf asked. Xanna nodded. Then let my friend put the spider on you. It'll take away the venom so you can move again. Xanna looked at her paralyzed body, then back at the night elf girl. Okay. Both of the girls smiled and the night elf looked at the boys, who had gotten into a wrestling match without anyone noticing. Those guys remind me of a couple other guys. Also, I don't think this is how spiders work. Even in the game, I don't think that was a thing. I'm pretty sure I made that up. Will you two knock it off? The blood elf girl— Xanna. The night elf girl looked back at Xanna. What? My name, it's Xanna. Oh, I'm Sophie, she said and placed a hand on her chest. Then she pointed to the human girl. This is my friend Sonia. Sonia smiled. Hey. And I'm Fanero, the male night elf said and popped out of nowhere. And this guy here is my best friend in the whole wide world, Khadga. He wrapped his arm around the Janai. Xanna tilted her head. I didn't know that best friends fought like that. We weren't fighting, we were simply talking it out with our fists. My best friend and I never do that. We always talk things out with our mouths like normal people. And sometimes through tickle fights. Well, that's the girl way. And this was the man way, Khadga said and folded his arms over his chest. Xanna tilted her head again. The girl way? Cosmo is a man. Khadga raised an eyebrow. Your best friend is a man? He looked up at Nero. Is that legal? I think so. Will you two shut up and put the spider on her legs? Right, go on, Khad. god, Venero told his friend. I'm still not sure if we should let this blood elf go free. What if she isn't as innocent as she looks? What if she decides to kill everyone in Duskwood? Xanna frowned. I was simply taking a road trip with my friends when we were attacked by Neuraxis and his army of spiders. Neuraxis? Your pet. Khadga picked up his pet. Your name is Neuraxis? Why didn't you tell me? That's an awesome name for you! And it matches my coolness level! Neuraxis gave him a blank look. So did everyone else. Just put them on her legs, Sophie said. Khadga gave her an irritated look. Fine, jeez, you're so pushy. He kneeled down to place Neuraxis on Xanna's legs. She began to breathe faster. Her heart was racing. Sophie placed a hand on her arm again. Calm down, he's not going to hurt you. He's the one that put me in this cocoon! Well, he won't hurt you this time. Not unless I tell him to, Khadga said. Sophie looked at him through the corner of her eye. And he won't let him hurt you again, right, Khadga? He shrugged. Let's just get things over with. Yeah, Xanna said. She laid her head down and shut her eyes tightly. Khadga put Neuraxis on Xanna's legs. He just sat there for a moment. Is he taking out the venom? Is he sucking it right? Nope, just sitting there, Izzy said as she watched the once terrifying spider just sit on Xanna's paralyzed legs. Xanna opened one eye, then the other. Oh, now you decide to not bite me? I swear if I could feel my legs, I would so— See? She's threatening to kill my pet! Khadga took Neuraxis off of Xanna's legs. We should just turn her into the guards. We're not turning her into the guards! Venero yelled. What you should do is turn that spider into a cook and let him make spider legs for lunch, Xanna said as she glared at the evil spider. Khadga's mouth dropped open and he covered both sides of Neuraxis' head, as if trying to cover his ears. See? 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 She wants to make spider legs out of my spider! Only because it's the most evil thing ever! That thing is Illidan's pet! Xanna yelled. Khadga's mouth dropped open again. Wow, you really hate that thing, don't you? Yes, it paralyzed me, put me in a cocoon, and now it won't take the venom away! You dirty little piece of horde scum! How dare you say my pet is the pet of Illidan! Khadga turned around and stuck his nose in the air. Xanna did the same. Well, she looked away and stuck her nose in the air. Guys, calm down. You're upsetting Sonya, Sophie said. They looked at Sonya. She looked like she was about to cry. Please don't fight. I hate it when people fight. Well, if she wasn't a horde, then we wouldn't have a reason to fight. I can't help the fact that I'm a horde and not an alliance. Yeah, you could. Your kind used to be high elves, so why don't you use your mana to go back in time and make it to where you have 2 night elves as parents instead of 2 blood elves? I'm a rogue, you dumbass! I don't use mana! Khadga was about to say something about how she was a useless elf when Venero got fed up with their argument. Shut up! He looked at Khadga. Just put your pet on her legs and get it to take away the venom. But she— Just do it! He looked at Xanna. And you'll be a good blood elf and stay still. Yeah, stay still. She's just gonna move so much when she's paralyzed. Khadga sighed and put Neuraxis back on Xanna's legs. She held her breath and waited for the bite. Go on, bite her. Just take a big bite out of her leg to get the venom out. Venero finished Khadga's sentence. Yeah, for the venom. Neuraxis still didn't do anything. Why won't he bite her? Sonya asked. She must taste bad and he doesn't want to bite her again, Khadga answered. He was about to pick Neuraxis up again, but he walked over to one of Xanna's bags. She stiffened. What's it doing? Not sure. Neuraxis reached into her bag and pulled out a piece of meat. Ah, he's hungry. He didn't get to eat you, so he decided to steal the meat Cosmo gave you. Geez, the one time I want a spider to bite me, it doesn't! Xanna began to yell all kinds of things in her head as Neuraxis ate the piece of meat he took from her bag. When he was done, he hopped off of Xanna's legs and stood next to Khadga. Khadga smiled. Venero began to tap his foot impatiently. What? He pointed to Xanna's legs. Khadga sighed and pointed to them as well. After 10 minutes of waiting, Neuraxis finally went to Xanna's legs and began to suck out the venom. Finally, Izzy and Xanna thought. Final scene. Thank God, this has been a long chapter. When Neuraxis was done sucking out all of the venom, he hopped off of Xanna's legs. Xanna sat up and began to stretch out her arms and legs. I can feel my legs! She hopped onto her feet and did a backflip. I can walk! It's a miracle! How is walking a backflip? Zonzon, is that you? A familiar voice from nearby said. What was that noise? Sophie asked. A blood elf, a lioness, 2 orcs, a tauren, and a troll came out of some nearby bushes. Zonzon! The blood elf said. Xanna ran up to him and gave him a big hug. He hugged back. Zonzon, I'm so glad you're okay. Miss Xanna, who are those guys? Gishpek asked as he stared at the alliance people. I'll tell you what they are. They're alliance scum is what they are. Moxa pulled out a dagger. Come on, Eek! Are you kidding me? Look at that goat thing! That'll squish me like a bug! I don't care! You get in there and fight to the death! Moxel was about to attack, but Xanna stopped him. No, they're nice! Well, at least the Night Elves and Human Girl are. What do you mean nice? They're alliance scum! While Xanna was talking to her friends, the others stared. What do you think they're saying? Finero asked his friends. They all shrugged. So? I'm half alliance and you don't think I'm scum, do you? Moxel was shocked that Xanna would ask such a question. Of course not. Even though he also tried to kill her for being half alliance when they first met 2 weeks ago. Then don't attack them. You shouldn't judge people by their looks or what faction they're from. You should judge them by their personality. She pointed to the alliance guys. And these guys have nice personalities. Moxa put his dagger away and he didn't say anything. Cosmo gave Xanna a hug, then a noogie. That's my girl. She knows not to judge people by their looks. He kissed the top of her head. She's smart like that. Mitten smiled and nodded, a way of agreeing with Cosmo. Meow. Thanks, Cosmo. Oh, come meet the Alliance guys, she said and grabbed Cosmo's hand. She brought him over to Finero and the rest. The rest of the group followed. Finero, this is my best friend Cosmo. She looked at Cosmo. Say hi. Cosmo gave Xanna a weird look, but he shook Finero's hand nonetheless. Finero and Cosmo slowly shook hands as they gave each other weird looks. Why are you looking at each other like that? Xanna asked the boys. Finero gave her a weird look. Why are you looking at me like that? Why are you talking like that? Oxel asked Xanna. What do you mean? Why are you talking like that? Finero asked Xanna. Like what? Everyone just gave Xanna weird looks. What's going on? End of chapter 10. Fuck, this was long. This took over an hour to read. An hour and 20 minutes. Writing style, still a 0. Grammar, punctuation, spelling. Getting real close to those negatives. Maybe next season I'll do that. Plot? I'm gonna give it a 1 this time, because it's getting my interest. It feels like we're going somewhere. I thought this was gonna be terrible because we're just introducing more people that we're not gonna use. I'm trying to pretend to read this from a new reader's perspective, and as a new reader, that's what I'm being given, is this might go somewhere, because these people were a lot more interesting than the people we've had. Let's see how long that lasts. Characters. I'm gonna give characters a 2 this chapter, because of this new group of people. Entertainment, 5 out of 5. Overall, that's higher than normal. I'll put the score down. If you have any predictions, be sure to let me know down in the comments, or feel free to start up a conversation. I'm always happy to hear from you. Be sure to like, share, and subscribe. Thank you for being here. May the peace be with you.